I was afraid of what she would do if I ripped off that Band-Aid.
The stupidest comment.
That's the zinger. I'm like, what? She's like, what do you think she's gonna do? Is she trying to paint her like some sort of psychotic killer? I don't know, like, no, I don't know.
Do you think Cody has a bias when it comes to you?
I don't think so.
When one marriage ends, hearts break. But when 3 marriages collapse, on national TV, the wreckage is hard to look away from. This is Drama Unfiltered. And in this episode, nothing is held back. We open on an uncomfortable truth. Cody Brown, the patriarch of a family built on unity, admits he respected Christine the least. Meri and Janelle were ranked higher, in his mind. And Christine? Just barely considered. Christine hears this and simply asks, "Did he ever really respect me?" Her voice trembles, not from weakness, but from exhaustion. Janelle tries to stay calm. Robyn plays innocent. And Cody? He lashes out, not with fists, but with words. Cold, calculated words that hit just as hard. He admits he stayed in the relationship out of fear, not love. He was scared to rip off the Band-Aid with Christine. And suddenly, this entire marriage sounds like a hostage negotiation. Then comes the infamous Coyote Pass discussion. And with it, the ugly truth about the money. Cody divided up the land like a king carving up his kingdom. Some wives got a fraction. Others, nothing at all. And Cody made one thing clear. Legally, he didn't need their approval for any of it. Janelle, who managed the family's finances for years, is stunned. Robyn, the so-called bookkeeper, is either confused or complicit. Meri speaks up. Why is Cody stonewalling us? The tone in the room shifts, from confusion to fury. Christine explodes with clarity. He only protects Robyn. The rest of us, we were just side characters in his show. And the silence that follows says everything. Behind every plural marriage is a fragile balance. And here, it's shattered. Janelle once trusted Cody with everything, even their children's education. But now she's pulling financial records to prove she pulled her own weight.
Nobody understood the bookkeeping. We were all entangled with each other in this strange way. The debts hadn't been paid, and they had to be paid. So I was trying to straighten out a mess that I was handed by Janelle.
Because Janelle didn't handle the debts.
No. Because she had a different perspective before her and I broke up about how things should be.
Because Cody claims she didn't contribute. Because Cody thinks sacred cows like money and sex should never be discussed, unless it helps his case. He talks about betrayal, but never once about accountability. Christine and Janelle reveal what was once unspoken. Cody used to control the narrative by exploiting each woman's deepest wound. With Christine, it was intimacy. With Janelle, financial control. With Robyn, a twisted loyalty test that isolated her from the others. Robyn sits quietly, watching this unravel. She insists she wasn't pulling strings, but everyone else remembers differently. Christine recalls Robyn weaponizing her words, twisting her intentions. Janelle says Cody always made sure he came out ahead. Meri says she was left on the outside, begging to be seen. The emotional manipulation wasn't subtle, it was strategy. Robyn denies being the favorite, but when asked if Cody will fairly divide Coyote Pass, Christine cuts in. He'll screw Meri and Janelle. He always does. And just when you think it can't get more tense, it does. The conversation shifts to sex. Christine reveals what we all suspected. The intimacy was gone long before the breakup. They had sex 5 times, in a year. Cody told her, bluntly, there will be no more intimacy. So Christine drew a line. You're done. You're not staying here anymore. It wasn't a fight. It was a funeral. Now she's with David, a man who cooks breakfast, a man who gives her the luggage rack, a man who shows affection without conditions. And that tiny, silly thing, the luggage rack, becomes the symbol of it all. Cody kept it for himself. David gave it to her without thinking. And for Christine, that meant everything. Back on the couch, Cody can barely hide his bitterness. He dismisses it all, calls it petty. But the audience knows, it's not about the luggage. It's about the years of emotional starvation. Meri, once Robyn's closest friend, quietly admits she stopped calling because Robyn never called back. Christine and Janelle say the same. Robyn breaks down, sobbing. But it's too late. Meri says it best. I needed her, and she wasn't there. The sisterhood is broken, not by drama, not by jealousy, but by silence. And now, that silence is gone. You're watching Drama Unfiltered, where the truth never needs a filter. Cody sits rigid on the couch, jaw clenched. His words sharp but hollow. They can talk all they want. It doesn't matter to me anymore. But it does matter. You can see it in his eyes. The rage, the regret, the unraveling. Janelle speaks up. He used to be calm, reasonable. Now, he's a volcano. Christine nods slowly, because she's lived that transformation. He was passive-aggressive for years, she says. But when I left, he exploded. Because that's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Cody didn't lose control because they left. He lost control because they stopped needing him. The women aren't angry anymore. They're tired. Tired of being gaslit. Tired of being edited out of their own lives. Christine recalls Cody rewriting the past, insisting he was always the victim. Meri adds, he forgets what he said, or he pretends to. And then Cody says it, the line that breaks the room. You all ganged up on me for years. It's not an apology, it's an accusation. Robyn stares, wide-eyed. Christine narrows hers. Janelle says it plainly. He's rewriting history. Again. Robyn finally cracks. Tears spill down her cheeks. She says she never meant for this to happen. But Christine doesn't flinch. You cried when we left, not when we suffered. That one lands like a punch. The real grief isn't about the divorce. It's about the years before. The isolation, the silence, the longing for a husband who was only present in theory. Meri, the most silent for so long, finally speaks. Her voice is steady, but behind it, decades of pain. I kept hoping, praying. I thought maybe he'd come back. But you know what? He was already gone. The others don't interrupt. They just let her speak. Maybe for the first time in years. And then comes the question that freezes the room. Did Cody ever really want a plural marriage? Or just a loyal fan club? Robyn shifts uncomfortably. Janelle shakes her head. Christine stares into the distance. Because deep down, they all know the answer. Cody's idea of love was never unconditional. It was based on performance. Fall in line, praise the leader, suppress your doubts, and maybe you'd earn a breadcrumb of affection. Now, with the curtain pulled back, the man who once called himself Father of the Year is just another guy yelling at a couch full of ex-wives. And Robyn? She stayed. But the look in her eyes? She knows what it cost. Christine turns to her gently, but firmly. You weren't the reason we left. But you were the excuse he used to push us away. Robyn nods through tears. Because sometimes, being the favorite doesn't mean winning. It means holding the blame. Janelle, now completely unfiltered, delivers the final blow. I don't hate Cody. But I see him clearly now. He doesn't want partners. He wants control. There's a long silence. No one argues. Because the truth, raw, cracked open, doesn't need permission to be heard anymore. And in that silence, something remarkable happens. They laugh. Christine makes a joke about the luggage rack. Meri chuckles softly. Even Robyn smiles through her tears. It's not peace, not yet. But it's something. Christine looks into the camera and says it best. We were never perfect. But we tried. And now, we get to try again. On our terms. And maybe that's the real story here. Not the collapse of a family, but the rebirth of women who finally remembered their worth. You're watching Drama Unfiltered, where pain becomes truth and truth becomes freedom. Don't forget to subscribe for more and drop your thoughts below. Was Cody grieving love or just losing control? As the scene shifts, the women are no longer just wives or ex-wives. They are survivors of a structure that demanded silence in exchange for belonging. Janelle says it out loud. We built our whole lives around one man's ego. And Cody, he doesn't deny it. He doubles down. Everything I did was for this family, he insists. But no one's buying it anymore. Meri, whose voice used to be barely above a whisper, speaks with steel in her tone. No. Everything you did was to keep control. Christine adds, we were afraid to speak, afraid to push back. Because when we did, you shut us out. Robyn wipes her eyes. But this time she doesn't defend Cody. She looks tired. Not just from the fight, but from carrying the illusion. Because here's the truth. The man they supported, protected, uplifted for decades. He never protected them. Janelle pulls out the receipts, literally and figuratively. Remember the counseling sessions? He always blamed us, never himself. Christine nods. I could handle the distance, but the rewriting of reality, that's what broke me. It wasn't just that Cody failed to show up emotionally. It was the gaslighting, the turning of every issue back onto them. You're too emotional. You're not grateful. You're overreacting. Robyn finally breaks her silence. He told me he was trying, that he loved all of you equally. Meri cuts in gently. Then why did it feel like we were begging for scraps? And then, a moment that shocks everyone. Robyn says softly, because maybe he didn't know how to love more than one person. Silence. Because there it is, the truth no one ever wanted to say out loud, that the man who championed polygamy maybe never wanted it at all. Christine sits up straight, voice clear and unwavering. Polygamy didn't fail. Cody failed. And the floodgates open. Meri says, I stayed because I believed in the family, not because he made me feel loved. Janelle adds, we kept trying to fix ourselves, when maybe he was the one who needed fixing. And Robyn? She breaks. Through sobs, she admits, I thought if I tried hard enough, he'd be the man you all described from the early years. But I don't know if that man ever really existed. Even Cody goes quiet, because what can he say now? The wives, past and present, are united in a way they never were during the marriage. Not against him, but for themselves. It's not bitterness, it's clarity. Christine puts it simply. We left to find peace. And look at us, talking, laughing, even crying together. Janelle smiles. I never thought healing would look like this. And Meri, always the last to speak, delivers the final line. Maybe we didn't get the love we deserved from him, but we gave it to each other. And that counts for something. The camera lingers on Cody, who stares at the floor. Maybe he's reflecting. Maybe not. But the women? They're already writing their next chapters. Together. But finally, free. You've been watching Drama Unfiltered, where silence gets broken, stories get reclaimed, and every voice finally gets heard. Like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Was this inevitable? Or was this the ending Cody refused to see coming?